I went on a special mission to compliment people, and somehow one compliment made an unexpected turn, and it led to a conversation that made me think about my future. So basically, last week I set a goal for myself to compliment people. I just wanted to compliment people and just leave. No overthinking, no complications, just compliment somebody and just move on with my day. It was it was it was something that I've done before in the past, but I decided to do it just to further build my exposure, my experience in approaching people, and just not overthink. And the results, they were pretty interesting. What ended up happening was a lot of the responses were pretty positive. Some of them said thank you. Some of them just nodded and just smiled, went on with their day. And it was mostly very just normal, positive. People were very perceptive, and that was great. One even complimented me and said, "Thank you. I like your jacket. It was a jacket that I wore. Um, the one that some of you saw in one of my first videos of this journey. It was that cool black and yellow jacket. So that was a pretty cool moment. That made me realize that hey, some people are can give you compliments too if you compliment them back. But I'm not gonna lie, there were some moments where I hesitated a lot. I didn't want to bother some people. There were some people that were walking the other way. Some of them were like far away, and I didn't want to seem like I was following them and just being a little weird. I'm just gonna be honest. I kind of wrestled with a few people in terms of complimenting them because I didn't want to, just like follow them, and that's okay. Hesitation is okay, and not everything was sunshine and rainbows. Not everybody responded the way I would want them to respond, and that's okay. I think that's something that I myself have to realize is that not everybody is going to respond to you the way that you want. Only you can control the way that, or how should I say this? You can only control how you respond. You can't control people's reactions. Only you can control yourself only. But going to that moment, there was this one moment where it happened. I think Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. I was about to cross the street to go to my local Target. I just went just to buy some things. I didn't plan on doing anything social wise. I just wanted just to buy something. But an opportunity somehow presented itself to me. I saw a woman with kind of like a it was kind of like a ripped shirt, but like it's one of those stylized ripped shirts, kind of like those shirts that some people might wear. Some people might wear in the concerts, right? And it had like this really silly smiley face on it. And hey, I said to myself, hey, that was cool. I wasn't planning on complimenting people today, but that was my chance to build some exposure and to get some practice in. So I said, hey, why not? The moment we cross the street, the moment our paths cross, why not just say a quick compliment and just leave? So the moment The moment the sign said walk, I was walking. I had my headphones on, so I just took them off. We were we were walking opposite directions, and I said, "That's a cool shirt, by the way." That's all what I said. I believe that she was talking to her friend while I was doing it, so I didn't really like. I just it was kind of just a go for it type of moment, and she didn't respond, which is okay. I think she was talking to her friend, and I don't think she even heard me or anything, but um, that's okay. And so after that, I just said to myself, good job. I wanted to remind myself that you did it. You said something at least. It's better than to just not say anything at all. I hyped myself up and I said, "Hey, good job, man. At least you said something." So in that moment, I realized that every approach is a win. Every approach, every compliment, every hi, every good morning that you do, it's a win. Even like even if like so if they respond to you, then that's a win. If they don't respond, hey, that's still a win. That's still a win. If they respond positively, that's a win. Like a completely obvious win. But if they respond either negatively or they don't respond, don't don't be so hard on yourself. That's still a win. That's what I was saying to myself, you know? And why I consider that a win, it's because you said something. You said something. You took the initiative to say something, and you're building exposure, not only exposure to social situations, but you're building experience so that every time you do them, every time you do these things, it won't be so bad the next time. And every approach you do, you will just learn something and you will feel less hesitant to do so. And one thing I thought about with this, one day when it really matters, when you see someone that you find attractive who could become your future partner, you will feel less scared and you will be able to approach the person you want to approach, and then it will lead to you building a relationship. So every approach is a win. Now I want to share with you the best example of of the lesson that I learned of that every approach is a win. This happened, I would say, like around Tuesday. One second, just let me take a sip cup of water. It's hot out here. You can obviously see that I'm like outside. I need some lightning, some light. So I was leaving work and I was going to the bus station to ride the bus. That day, I was planning on actually going to my local cafe and approaching somebody and starting a conversation. I set the goal of myself to approach somebody at the cafe, and I basically said just to start a conversation with anyone outside of work, because at work, you are basically required to talk to people, and it's kind of easy because depending on the job that you have to talk to people. But I wanted to have that challenge of just approaching somebody at work and starting a conversation, because that's when I feel like you will really learn something, right? So I was about to cross the street to the bus station, and that's when I saw this woman with a kind of like a red flower themed shirt, and it looked it looked cool. It looked beautiful, and I wasn't planning on really like approaching people like out in the open like that. But I did say I wrote down in my journal that um start a conversation with anybody. And for this, I just said, "Hey, I'm going to the cafe to talk to somebody. Let me just compliment this lady right here and just go off my way, right?" So when it was time for us to walk, she was like about to cross another side of the street. She was waiting for her side to like to signal her. So I crossed the street. We kind of looked at each other, and I said, "Hey, beautiful shirt." Then she said, "Oh, thanks." And then she also said something. She said, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And I said, no. Like you do look familiar. Have I seen you at my workplace before?" And then she said, "Oh no." And then she looked she looked at my logo of the company that I'm working for, and she said, "Oh, so that's where you work?" And then I said, "Yeah." And she 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 said, "Oh, how do you like working there?" And looking back, I wasn't expecting her to like ask me a question, you know, because I just wanted to compliment her and go. But she expressed like value, like expressed like interest. So I said, "Well, I've been working there for like 3 years now. It's a great opportunity to grow your confidence and talk to people." Then she said, "Oh, cool." Like and then she asked like, what's been the best part about it?" And then I said, "Well, it's the fact that it's the fact that you it's the fact that you grow your confidence and you meet new people, and it just it's a good learning experience for life, basically." And then she nodded. She was, looking at me. She said, "Okay, that's cool." And she said, "What's next?" And I said, "Well, I have a few ideas in mind. I want to do this. I want to do that." And she she so I'm trying to remember the conversation the best I can. She she said, I think I told her like what did she do, and then she said, "Well, she's a like an entrepreneur. She like mentors people. She like mentors people that want to want to develop themselves like personally, like self development, things of that nature." Because I mean I didn't mention something about entrepreneurship and like communication as an interest of mine. Then she branched into that. So and then I remember her telling me that she told me, she asked me this question like, do you see yourself staying at that job you're in? And I said, "Well, no." And then she asked me, what's making you not want to take that next step?" And that really made me think. Sorry, I was I said that uh, just trying to decide what's the best career move for me going forward, and wondering if I'm capable enough. And then she said, "Here's a secret: you are, you are capable." And that really stood out to me. That really did. So it was a really like it was a really like eye-opening conversation, and it really made me think about my future a little bit. So we departed our ways. We said our goodbyes. You know, we I gave her she gave me her number and such, just to connect and see if there's an opportunity to grow, and just for a connection, and that was that. And honestly, I'm really glad that one compliment just led to this really engaging and very thoughtful conversation. I really think I really needed that. So in conclusion, I would say my takeaway for all of this is you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to meet when you do these approaches, because in all walks of life, there's so many there's so many interesting people. You don't have to meet everybody or talk to everybody that you see in public. Some people don't want to be talked to, and that's fine. But if you take that chance, if you take that chance to approach somebody, you never know if that person will end up being a mentor of yours, or who will become your friend, or who might even become a romantic partner of yours. And I would say, at least for me, in my opinion, it's worth it, at least just to try and talk to people, because there might be some people that might change your life for the better, and that will add some value to your life. So every approach is a win. So that's all I wanted to say today. I hope that you've learned something today, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.